World War II ended, as we all know, nearly 70 years ago, but one battle is still being fought. You may not know this. To find and return thousands of pieces of stolen art and return them to their rightful owners. The men and women originally recruited for this battle are the subject of The Monuments Men, a film that is opening on Friday, directed and starring George Clooney and the man right here, Matt Damon. You have been a great sport all day long here in the studio with us. We appreciate that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm away from like my 4 crazy kids for a few minutes, so I'll do anything. I'll serve coffee, whatever you need.
Yeah, you can be hired. I do want to talk to you about The Monuments Men. I watched it. I learned so much. But of course, all of us, like you, are so saddened by the death of Philip Seymour Hoffman, and you had a chance to work with him and the talented Mr. Ripley, and he had a way of just disappearing in roles. He was an actor's actor.
He's one of the best actors to ever live, without a doubt, and he was an even better person. He was a beautiful, beautiful person.
Yeah, and I know that all of us are continuing to think about him and his family.
Horrible.
Yeah.
It's just horrible.
Yeah. And the fact that you are able to, and this is what's so great about film, you can transport us, you can make us forget our worries for a time. And in The Monuments Men, I was so glad that you admitted too that you weren't familiar with the history of them. Tell people why it's such an important story.
Yeah, well, because what these guys did, they were kind of over the hill in soldiering terms, and they were curators and art historians who basically formed this unit to go protect these cultural objects, these monuments, and actually ended up going after all of this stolen art that the Nazis had looted from the European museums and from Jewish collectors. And these guys basically felt that art was worth their lives, and some of them died doing this actually. But that art was really the center of our culture and what we really are, and that's really what this war was about. It was about, and that's exactly what we were fighting for. And
exactly.
And so it's a beautiful message and a beautiful thing that these guys did.
And the cast, and it's really, they're not just unsung heroes, unlikely heroes. I mean, they were the last people that you would expect to see over there.
Yeah, they were old. You know, I think the oldest Monuments Man was in his late 60s. You know, these were not, you know, and they had families, they had careers. They were very successful people in the art world who left all of that in order to contribute to you know, their country in this really wonderful way. No, it's sad actually. Subsequently, you know, 10 years ago when we went into Baghdad, we didn't have these guys, and it was a real tragedy, actually.
That's a good point. It's a good point. I want to give everybody a little bit of a taste here. Your character is meeting Cate Blanchett's character, who is Parisian, and she works in an art gallery there. And you think you know French. Your character thinks you know French a little bit better than she lets on. Take a look. The Monuments Men.
J'espérais avoir une chance de vous parler d'art. L'art dérobé.
Je sais qui vous êtes.
Alors, vous avez que j'aimerais à dire.
J'en sais rien. And you stop speaking in French, whatever language you're speaking.
Well, if it weren't for us, you'd be speaking German.
No. If it wasn't for you, I might be dead. But I would still be speaking French.
Oh, the cast was just, as you said, off the charts.
Yeah, it was a really great group. You know, George Clooney wrote this, and with Grant Heslov, with his partner, they wrote it, produced it together. George directed it and starred in it. I mean, it was one of the easiest jobs I've ever taken, in the sense that there was no question I was going to do it from the second it was offered to me. To work with him, and just at the level he's working at right now, and then this group, it's you know, Bill Murray and John Goodman and these guys that I've just watched for years and really admired, and obviously a chance to work with Cate again.
Yeah.
You know, it had been 16 years since we worked together. So.
It was an important story, but you were able to slip in humor there. It was just a way, and that you're just teaching us as we're sitting there watching, and it's unbelievable that it hasn't been made into a film.
I agree. I was amazed that I didn't know the story. I mean, it's a really incredible story that's kind of suited perfectly for a movie. I was kind of embarrassed, you know. I had that, you know, because I feel like I've read a lot about World War II, but I'd never come across these guys.
George directing. We hear you're going to be making your directing debut as well.
Someday, yeah. If I can, you know, if I can take time away from all these kids, you know. Yeah, it's really a logistical issue for me. You know, I like to be home. So. Yeah,
and home now is L.A. You left New York. You left this weather for the West Coast.
It's hard to. Yeah, look, we're still adjusting to it. I mean, I tried to. You know, I tried to make the most of LA, so I went and I got a mountain bike and I started mountain biking and I immediately broke my collarbone. So, so I've been like laid up. But we miss New York. New York's going to be here. We'll be back someday. I know.
So the kids have adjusted to.
They're doing great. Yeah, they're doing great. You know, and obviously in days like, I mean, people complain about this weather, but I grew up in this weather, so I actually like it.
Oh well, you can stay. You can have it. You can have it. Let me tell you. Yeah, because you get to leave. That's why you like it so much. Hey, the Monuments Men. Thank you, and George and the whole cast for bringing this to the attention of so many. It's very important. It's a great film.
Thank you.
All the best to you going forward, Matt. And the Monuments Men opens nationwide on Friday.